wish I could get more EVs into my shop to diagnose and repair them. If I only had a tool that I could just push a button. Oh wait, I can with this right here. Hey everyone, this is Tom with Fresh Vintage Garage. Today we're checking out another awesome product from the Xtool family of scan tools. We'd like to thank them for sending this over and sponsoring this video. Taking a look at this, specifically we have the N9EV. Now what this is basically two tools in one, basically two scan tools in one. What I mean is you have all of the usual suspects, dare I say that, all of the gasoline world over here, so to speak. OBD2 code reading, live data graphing, bidirectional control, oil light, like maintenance resets, and so on and so forth. All the stuff you usually assume you would get with a gasoline, variant or scan tool. This also has an entire second EV scan tool built into it. Some of the features you get with this is battery pack detection. What I mean is you can actually plug into the EV and see the battery and actually look at the individual cells and see the charge state, whether they're good, maybe you have an issue, something like that. Also inside the box here, there's multitude of little individual connectors and adapters, and that's for individual component testing on an EV. So we're going to do a few different things here. We're going to get these off of here, and then we're going to actually unbox this and show you what's inside. And then we're going to go out and scan both an EV and a gasoline-powered car. So to get started here, we're going to go ahead and unbox this. Big shout out to Xtool here for awesome clasps on here. Let me show you this. Not only do you get a really nice case, let me set this over here, but you get the metal clasps versus plastic ones. Always appreciate that. It just feels more professional, more finished versus like little plastic ones. Let me pop this open. And there's a lot going on inside here, so I'll break this down one by one. Usual paperwork that no one ever reads, so we're good with that. I have a wireless VCI, and when I say wireless, this actually has the connector to go from the OBD2 port to this, but this connection to the scan tool, let me just quickly pull this out of the package here. Your connection here is Bluetooth from this guy to this guy, so very cool to see that that is not 100% wireless, but you need the OBD2 connector to get to the actual car. Let's look in here because there's a treasure trove going on in here. There we go. And let me just, at the risk of making a mess here, I'm just going to do this, and if stuff falls, it falls. When I say there's EV component tests, like little things, there's all kinds of stuff in here. If you are a shop owner, you're a current EV shop owner, or you're thinking of getting into and expanding into this market, this Xtool has a ton of different stuff, and it even has various options for OEM level Tesla testing and capabilities for like deep level diagnostics. Really, really fascinating to see. And honestly, some of this stuff, I couldn't 100% tell you what it's for. But if you're thinking of getting into this market, if you are potentially looking to get into the EV world, there's a ton of stuff going on in here. So not going to show you every single nuance here, but let me just go ahead and I'll set this back down and we can actually look at the scan tool here. Okay, so I'll turn this on. And while this is turning on, take a look at it here. Very well built, durable, solid unit. You're not going to break this thing by dropping it on the ground. A couple things on the outside here. We have our actual connector. If you wanted to do the direct connect OBD2 to the scan tool, USB-A port, which I believe there was a right here, right there. So USB actual connectivity. And then on the bottom here, I believe there's a dock. Like if you wanted to sit this on a dock and just work on it, you could do that as well. And on the back, we have a few things. We have a camera and a flash, a very nice kickstand. Another great thing to just have sitting there like that, sitting at a desk working. It also has, I believe it has speakers on the back here. Yep, right there. And overall, a real good blend of form and function. 9.7-inch capacitive touchscreen, very well built, very snappy too. It's built on Android 10. So when you stop and think, I have a $50 scan tool. I have something it's whatever. I spent 50, 60 bucks on it, and you think what operating system's on there? Like how old is it, and how long is it going to be relevant as software becomes more and more complicated, comprehensive, and voluminous, like bigger software packages for cars. Suddenly, this becomes the unit that has the horsepower, so to speak, to actually keep operating with this newer software 5 years from now, 7 years from now, stuff like that, versus something that might have like Android 6 on it, or something that is just going to not be physically have the capacity to process the newer software for like 2025 and on kind of cars. When you look at this unit, we've really reached a day and age where a lot of these are just tablets. And when I say just tablets, it's a very, very high-end tablet, but it's a tablet with the software on it. This is Android 10, and then when you look here, you see the Xtool diagnostic software on it. So really, really awesome to see such a chunky, beefy, well-built unit. And this is the main screen, so gasoline, so to speak, EV. It really is that fast. Boom, you're in the EV mode, back to gasoline mode. So looking at the EV mode real quick here, there's battery pack detection we talked about, diagnostics, and then component test. Component test is kind of getting off into the weeds, and what I mean is, I'm just going to set this down, but if you can imagine you have your OBD2 connection and then you go into some individual components, you literally are putting these in some cases into the components, like your air compressor or your AC compressor or your power steering pump, because it's all electric. There's no like belt or there's no gasoline engine driving this stuff, so it's all electrically powered. So you would need to one by one use some of these adapters to test inside the car. Speaking of component tests, we're going to go do two things. We're going to go scan an EV. We have a Chevy Bolt to scan, and we're also going to use the gasoline or the general side for a Ford Escape. Let's go scan both of those right now. We are in a 2018 Chevy Bolt here. Big shout out to the owner of this car for letting us do this part. But we're going to jump into the Xtool battery pack detection. You can see if we go to general, there's our gasoline world, so to speak. We're going to flip over to EV, and we're going to go to battery pack detection. And we'll go to America's up here, and General Motors. And the Bolt is on right now, so definitely make sure the Bolt's on when you're doing this. Go to Chevrolet, Bolt. This is a 2018. So we want to do the energy control module detection. And this is going to give you just some basic data. If you have this in the actual shop, this would probably be useful information. And then live data, let's actually go to the basic data here and see what's going on in here. So quite a few things. Some of the stuff, honestly, I'm not 100% on, but control module, voltage signal, and so on and so forth. Definitely a lot of valuable stuff in here that you would use to diagnose the Bolts or an EV should you need to actually take it in for repair, or if you're trying to do something like smaller yourself. Let's look at the module data here. And it's actually going through the modules quite quickly there. Okay, so we have a lot of stuff going on here. Really awesome to see everything live data like this. And you can see where it's giving different specs in the actual pack. So that's really handy to see the individual breakdown of what looks like each cell, if I'm reading this correctly. Really, really neat. Let's back out of here and let's go to the hybrid powertrain control module. I don't think there's going to be anything in here, but let's see if there's any live data that comes out of this. Because this is a totally electric battery vehicle, it's going through things. Okay, so there is information in here, and we can see what's coming up on the screen here. A lot of actual information in here. So really powerful tool here for the EV side of your business if you're a shop owner and you're looking to diagnose and actually break out into a new category of like hybrid and EV repairs. Looking at the individual data here, you can choose different options here. I'm just going to choose a random few things here and then hit custom. And we should have the ability to do a graph here. There's graph, I went right by it. So we're not really driving or moving right now, but you can see the live data coming out of the computers and out of like the battery pack and so on. So really powerful tool for getting into what's going on in the internals of any given EV or hybrid. We're switching from EV to general or internal combustion engine, so to speak. And quick note, we are in a 2005 Honda CR-V. Earlier in the video, we said we were in a 2017 Escape, which the video from that wasn't great, so we are now in my 2005 Honda CR-V. So looking at this, we are in the internal combustion section, and it's a pretty streamlined setup. We have auto scan, diagnosis, and special function. Looking down here, I just want to see what's down here. If there was an endoscope, if you wanted to, you could connect that through the USB-A port here. Remote control if you needed Xtool to come in and help with something going on the scan tool, and then so on and so forth here. Reports, if you were a shop owner and you wanted to generate a report, this is where it would live. And looking in here, software updates as well, and then your general settings. So let's go backwards here. Let's look into special functions. So you can see very comprehensive support for ICE vehicles. If you've never heard an ICE, internal combustion engine, but a lot of stuff going on in here, all the way from headlights to stuff. Some of the stuff, honestly, as a DIYer, you may never use, but as a shop owner, it's great to see the amount of comprehensive stuff that's going on in here. Looking at the diagnosis, let's just jump right in here. This is a Honda, obviously. Let's go down. Did I scroll? Oh, sorry. Let me go to Asia. Honda. And that is connected to the OBD2 port. You can see right here we have 11.6 volts, Bluetooth connectivity, and it is not actually connected. That's that middle one is not connected by USB cable. So it says it failed. So let's try that again. So we heard the beep. There we go. So for some reason it didn't connect before. 16-pin connector, United States. And real quick here, if you wanted your vehicle information, there's our VIN, your make and model, and ADAS calibration. This car is very old per se. It does not have any kind of radar, active braking or lane departure stuff, and there's no cameras on it. But say if you had a 2020 something vehicle and it had that, your ADAS calibration setup is here. I'm not sure what zero lamp maintenance is. I'm pretty sure that is looking at this is the manual way to, so if my maintenance required light pops on, this is the manual way to reset it. You can readily find this stuff on the internet, but great that it's built right in here so you can, do it right from the scan tool here. And let's back out of here. System selection. So real quick, if you wanted to automatically push the button and go through the diagnostics, you push automatic. If you want to do a manual system selection, such as the engine or the transmission individually, or the ABS system or the SRS system individually, you would go ahead and click system selection, and it breaks all of that out here. You can see quite a bit of stuff going on in here. So very powerful with all the stuff that you can dig into. What we want to do is just go in and hit automatic scan, and then all system scan. It'll go out and try to find everything that's built into the software here. I'm going to do hot system scan just so you see the systems that are built into this 05 CR-V. So I'm going to hit hot system scan. And this is the topology. This is a really cool feature because instead of just giving you a list that you scan through, it actually shows you the individual breakdown of what it's scanning. And in this case, some of these are probably not going to be actually responsive. Like there's not going to be an actual, it says no response right here. So we'll let this run through, and you can see it's already finding the gray one showing ACC and ACM are not in this vehicle, but we'll let this run through, and let me just scroll over. Yeah, it's right here. So we'll let this run through and show you what it found and if there's any issues with any individual systems. All right, we are all done here, and real quick, if you just wanted to see this as a list, it's right here. But looking at the topology, it breaks this out. This is a great way to maybe show a customer or someone who's never actually had a full comprehensive breakdown or representation of all the systems that could possibly be in a car. A great way to visualize it here. Looking at the list, we have SRS failure and an engine failure. So I just want to look at each one of these. The rest of these are saying they're good. So let me hit diagnosis here. Okay, and that's exactly how the car is. We'll let it communicate. Okay, so let's read some trouble codes here. Okay, so this is saying passenger airbag cutoff indicator is short. You can't see it, but directly through the screen, there's the passenger airbag off light. And sometimes that comes on while I'm driving down the road, and I believe there's some kind of, maybe the wiring got disconnected or something underneath the passenger seat. But so I have to look at that. And then in here, if I wanted to look at live data, I can actually come in here and look at all of the different stuff. And let me just look left buckle switch. I'm actually curious, if I put my seatbelt on, will this turn on? Look at that. That's pretty cool. So if Jay were to put his seatbelt on, the same thing. And so there's unbuckle. So that's pretty neat to see the system is actually functioning and giving live data like that. But really powerful tool for a shop owner here. And let's see, special functions. Put the vehicle in maintenance mode. Output check of seats, initialization. So initialization of seat weight sensor, interesting. I may have to try that. But a lot of features here specifically. You can see how deep into the weeds we are, so to speak, in the actual software here. Exiting the system. There we go. And so let's go into the engine diagnosis here. And same thing, we want to read our trouble code, see what's happening. Okay, so I'm seeing two codes actually. I have a P0420, excuse me. So that's a pretty common O2 sensor, or maybe your catalytic converter is not doing so great. Unfortunately, this one kind of reinforces that because it says catalyst deterioration. So I'm probably going to have to get this thing to a muffler shop and have them look at it, or they're probably just going to tell me to replace the catalytic converter. But same thing here, live data. And there's a ton of stuff in here. I don't see a select all button. Let me just choose a bunch of stuff in here. I just want to load this up until it tells me I can't. Okay, air fuel ratio, let's grab that one. Oh, okay, so it actually stopped me. I want to uncheck that one. So let's go ahead and I'm going to start the car. Okay, so we see we're getting 14.67. Let me hit the gas to see if that changes here. Yep, so you can see it moving. There's everything here is giving live data. The reason I chose these is if you wanted to do a custom, this should give you a graph. And so here's our graphing. And you can see we are graphing 8 different things at the same time. So if you're trying to figure out maybe there's something going wonky in the system and you want to try to narrow it down sensor by sensor, this is a great way to do it. Let me actually hit the gas here and see. I'm assuming the target throttle will change. Yep, so you can see I'm moving around. So really powerful tool here. And I'm going to hit display all and see what happens. Okay, so here's everything. And I want to hit custom to see what else is in here. If we wanted to combine these, here's our single graph with all of the data going at the same time. So really neat to see the capability here. And I'll go ahead and exit out of here. And let me back out of here. Back out. So if we wanted to freeze frame data, I believe we're going to just take a snapshot. Yeah, it should be just taking a snapshot of everything in the car right now. And there we go. So if you were like troubleshooting, maybe drive it while it's cold, drive it while it's hot, and checking against like OEM specs or something, this is a good way to do that. And let's look into special functions. pretty sure we'll find all of the same special functions. Okay, so look at everything we have here. Calibration of motor, rotor position, everything to the powertrain module replacement. So a lot of really in-depth functionality and tools here. I'm wondering if this is the like bidirectional control here. Okay, so a lot of very, very in-depth stuff. Radiator fan. Let me turn this off, because if I can do, forgive the beeping, if I can do this, I believe I should be able to turn the fans on here. Well, let me try that again here. Yes, and there we go. Okay. So if you listen, let me see, I should be able to hear the fans here. Let me point the microphone that way. There they are, and I'm going to turn them off. So really, really cool feature here, and you start seeing all of the possibilities in here. If I wanted to turn the fuel pump on, if I wanted to adjust the idle, that's interesting. So I could actually do that in here. I don't want to do that, so let me jump out of here. But really powerful tool. Let me back all the way out. I'm going to back all the way out here, and I'm just going to go all the way out. Okay, so auto scan. So everything we just did, literally customer comes in, I don't know what's going on, but I need this thing fixed. We had auto scan, and we may not even let this finish, but it's going to go through start to finish and pretty much do everything we just did automatically. We'll let it run for a minute here just to see what comes up, but I'm guessing it's going to do everything start to finish automatically. There's our VIN. Got that. US. And so we're right back to the same screen. So if we wanted to do an automatic scan, we could. If we wanted to break down into an individual system, we could. But that's where the kind of a one-stop shop button comes from here. Wrapping things up, this is a very, very interesting tool. I like this thing a lot. It's expensive. It's not a cheap tool per se, and it's a very eclectic tool because you are putting EV power and internal combustion engine power and diagnostics in the palm of your hand, literally boom, one to the other. So this is a very cutting edge piece of equipment and scan tool. It's probably for a shop owner. I mean, if you're a DIYer and you have some cash to burn, this is your guy. The scan tool itself is snappy. It's built on Android 10. They have Chrome right on here, and I don't believe Google Play is on here, but I mean, with the cameras on the back and the kickstand, very, very solid. It's a perfect blend of shop tool ready and tech. So it's a very good, solid choice for the next cutting edge of diagnostics and scan tools and repair of day-to-day vehicles on the road. I would give this a big thumbs up. Big props to Xtool for sending this over and letting us review this video. Really, really solid unit. With that, if you like scan tools, if you like shop equipment, if you like keeping your cars certified fresh and keeping them fixed up on the road, Fresh Vintage Garage is your channel. Please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.